New York City, May 2018. The Consensus Cryptocurrency Conference. A man in the hallway glances down at his phone and freezes. No signal, no service, nothing. He knows exactly what it means. A friend of his had the same thing happen the day before, and his friend lost everything. He rushes to a Manhattan AT&T store across the street from the conference. A staff member pulls up his account and confirms it. His phone number has just been transferred to someone else's SIM card. By the time he understands what is happening, the attacker has already reset his email password, broken into his cryptocurrency exchange accounts, and begun draining them. Before it is over, more than $1.7 million will be gone. The whole thing will take minutes. And somewhere else, a 20-year-old college student from Boston is watching the money come in. Joel Ortiz grew up in the Allston neighborhood of Boston. By every visible measure, he was a success story. In 2016, he was named valedictorian of another course to college, a small Boston public prep school. He shook hands with Mayor Marty Walsh at a luncheon for the city's top graduating seniors. He was the lead software programmer on his school's robotics team. He taught other students the basics of coding. That fall, he enrolled at the University of Massachusetts Boston to major in information technology. On paper, he was the kid you root for. In reality, he was already deep inside a hidden online community that was about to rewrite how cybercrime worked. The community called itself OG Users. On the surface, it was a marketplace for rare social media handles. Short usernames, single letters, single digits. Names like @A, @Z, @0. Accounts that could only exist because someone registered them the day Twitter or Instagram launched, and that collectors would pay thousands of dollars in Bitcoin to own. Under the surface, OG Users was something else entirely. It was a school. It was where a new generation of hackers taught each other how to social engineer phone companies, how to bypass two-factor authentication, and how to drain cryptocurrency wallets without ever touching the victim's computer. Joel Ortiz was one of them. His username on the forum was simply J. And by early 2018, he had become one of the most prolific operators in the entire scene. To understand what Ortiz was about to do, you have to understand a technique called SIM swapping. Your phone number is not really tied to your phone. It is tied to the small plastic chip inside your phone, the SIM card. And the carrier, the AT&T or the T-Mobile of the world, has the power to move that number from one SIM card to another. They do it every time you buy a new phone. Now imagine you call the carrier, pretending to be someone else. You say, "I lost my phone. Please move my number to this new SIM. If you can answer a few security questions, if you can recite a social security number, a date of birth, an address, the carrier will do it. They will transfer the victim's phone number directly to a SIM card sitting in your pocket. From that moment, you are the victim. Every text, every call, every one-time password sent over SMS goes to you." And in 2018, almost every cryptocurrency exchange in the world used SMS as a second factor for logging in and resetting passwords. You see where this is going. Ortiz and his friends in the OG Users community figured out something brutal. If you could take over someone's phone number, even for 15 minutes, you could walk into their Gmail, reset the password. From Gmail, you could walk into Coinbase, into Bittrex, into Binance. You could reset those passwords too. And once you were inside, you could empty the wallets into accounts you controlled. No malware, no exploit, no 0-day. Just a phone call to customer service. Ortiz practiced. He built relationships with insiders at the carriers, some of whom were later accused of taking bribes to process fraudulent swaps. When the phone trick didn't work remotely, he walked into stores in person. In one case, he drove to an AT&T reseller in the state of Georgia, presented stolen identification, and asked for a new SIM in a stranger's name. The employee handed it over, and then he started hunting for targets. Not random people, specific people. People he knew were sitting on piles of Bitcoin and Ethereum. People like the attendees of Consensus 2018. Consensus is the biggest cryptocurrency conference in the world. Every year, thousands of developers, investors, and executives pack a Manhattan hotel to talk about the future of money. For a SIM swapper, it was a shopping mall. In the weeks leading up to the conference, Ortiz and his crew built a target list. They trawled public records. They scraped LinkedIn. They bought stolen personal information from data brokers on the dark web. On May 16, 2018, while the conference was in full swing, they struck. One of the targets was a man named Seth Shapiro, a two-time Emmy-winning media expert, an adjunct professor at the University of Southern California's School of Cinematic Arts, the head of strategy for a startup called VideoCoin. Shapiro's phone number was transferred to a SIM card controlled by Ortiz's crew. Within minutes, his email was compromised, and within minutes of that, someone was methodically logging into every cryptocurrency exchange he used across KuCoin, Bittrex, Coinbase, Huobi, Cryptopia, Livecoin, HitBTC, COS, Liqui, Bitfinex, and Wax. 11 exchanges in total. They drained roughly 1,200 Ether out of his Bittrex account alone, worth about $500,000 at the time. When it was over, Seth Shapiro had lost $1.7 million. About $1 million of that was his personal savings, money he had described as his retirement. He was not the only one. 2 other executives at Consensus were hit in the same operation, but the biggest score was not in New York. It was in Cupertino, California, the home of Apple, and the home of a cryptocurrency entrepreneur whose name has never been released. In a single attack, in May of 2018, Joel Ortiz took over that man's phone and stole more than $5.2 million from him. In minutes. By the summer of 2018, Ortiz had hit more than 40 victims and drained over $7 million out of their accounts. And then he started spending it. He rented mansions in Los Angeles and threw parties that looked like scenes from a reality show. He dropped $10,000 a night in nightclubs. He chartered a helicopter to fly himself to a music festival. He bought Gucci luggage and Gucci clothes. Over the spring and summer of 2018, he ran through about $150,000. He also got arrogant. On OG users, he was Jay. On Instagram and on Twitter, he had done something his community considered the ultimate flex. He had taken over the handle at 0, a single digit, a username so rare that only a handful like it exist on the entire platform. And he was not shy about it. A video surfaced on a Facebook account linked to him showing 2 people in a nightclub holding 2 signs. One said @ the other said 0. One of Ortiz's victims had stared at his dead phone. Ortiz, on the other side, was dancing under the letters of the handle he had just taken over. But while Ortiz was celebrating, a small group of investigators in Santa Clara County, California, was already on his trail. The task force was called REACT, the Regional Enforcement Allied Computer Team. Run out of the Santa Clara District Attorney's Office, it pulled together detectives from multiple Bay Area police departments who specialized in high-tech crime. In February 2018, months before the Consensus attacks, a Santa Clara resident had walked into REACT's office and said, "I think I've been hacked." His phone had gone dead. $10,000 in Bitcoin had vanished. And then something even stranger had happened. The attacker had phoned his wife and then sent a text message to his daughter that read, in all capital letters, "Tell your dad to give us Bitcoin." The investigating officer on the case was named Caleb Tuttle. He served a warrant on AT&T. The carrier's records showed that the victim's phone number had been ported to 2 Samsung phones the victim had never owned. Those phones had IMI numbers, hardware serial numbers, which meant they could be tracked. Tuttle served another warrant, this time on Google. And inside the Gmail accounts linked to those phones, investigators found evidence that tied the account directly to Joel Ortiz. From there, his digital trail unraveled fast. Tuttle got warrants on the cryptocurrency exchanges Ortiz had used and watched him move more than $1 million in various coins. He got a broader warrant on AT&T and matched Ortiz's phones to around 40 other victims across the country. He pulled Ortiz's YouTube history and found tutorials Ortiz himself had uploaded teaching people how to exploit phone company websites and social media platforms. He found that Ortiz had purchased a domain called twuter.com, a classic phishing lookalike. Meanwhile, the REACT team had learned something that made them move fast. Ortiz was about to leave the country. On July 12, 2018, he walked into Los Angeles International Airport. He was carrying a Gucci bag and $250,000 in cryptocurrency in his pocket. His flight was headed to Europe. He never made it onto the plane. REACT officers picked him up at the terminal. When they booked him into the Santa Clara County Jail, his bail was set at $1 million. He could not post it. Almost all of his stolen millions were in a form of cold storage that the authorities could not access, and what was still reachable was frozen. The valedictorian who had rented helicopters a month earlier was now sitting in a cell. The charges came in waves: an initial indictment of 28 counts, then 41, grand theft, identity theft, computer intrusion. On January 24, 2019, Joel Ortiz walked into a Santa Clara County courtroom and pleaded no contest to 10 felony theft charges. As part of the plea deal, he agreed to 10 years in state prison. On Friday, April 19, 2019, Santa Clara County Judge Edward Lee formally handed down the sentence. Before the ruling, the court held 2 hearings in which Ortiz's victims described what the thefts had done to their lives: college funds, home down payments, retirement savings, gone in minutes. The deputy district attorney prosecuting the case was named Erin West. After the hearing, she spoke to reporters. Quote, "These are not Robin Hoods. These are crooks who use a computer instead of a gun. They are not just stealing some ethereal, experimental currency. They are stealing college funds, home mortgages, people's financial lives." End quote. Of the roughly $7.5 million Ortiz had stolen, REACT investigators only managed to recover about $400,000. Everything else had either been spent on the parties and the clothes and the helicopters, or had been moved into wallets the feds could not reach. Joel Ortiz became the first person in the United States ever convicted of stealing cryptocurrency by SIM swapping. But he was not the last. Within months, REACT arrested others the Ortiz investigation had exposed. Xavier Narvaez, a 19-year-old from Tracy, California, implicated by emails found on one of Ortiz's own phones. Joseph Harris, accused of stealing $14 million. Nicholas Truglia, tied to at least 11 SIM swap cases across the country. Erin West put it simply, quote, "Each arrest that we made sent shockwaves through that community. That they weren't safe in their basement, they weren't safe in their room in their mom's house, that they were being tracked down and arrested, one by one." End quote. Here's the thing that should haunt you about the Joel Ortiz story. He did not write a single line of malware. He did not find a single 0-day. He did not break a single password with brute force. Every attack he carried out was, at its core, a phone call, a conversation, a retail store employee handing over a SIM card to a polite young man with the right information. Joel Ortiz understood something that most people still refuse to accept. Security is not about the device in your hand. It's about the human being on the other end of the line, the employee at the call center, the clerk at the phone store, the customer who gets asked, "What's your mother's maiden name?" Every one of those humans is a door, and every door can be opened with the right words. That is why this channel is called the Handshake, because every breach begins the same way, with someone on one side of a conversation choosing to trust someone on the other. Joel Ortiz is now serving his sentence in a California state prison. The phone number he built an empire on has long since been reassigned. The @0 handle is gone. The Gucci bag is evidence. And somewhere out there, another 20-year-old is reading a forum post, learning how to make the same phone call. The only real question is who picks up. Next time on The Handshake, a nation state, a piece of software you trust, and one of the most devastating supply chain attacks in history, the SolarWinds hack. Subscribe.